DreamHack Astro Open is brought to you by Astro, Monster Energy, Corsair, and Zowie.
It's going to be hair-raising, it's going to be hell-raising. They go up against none other than the heroic Danes, who have proven their worth already once today here in Austin. Now they're going to go up against an even tougher opponent. The HellRaisers stand in their way of a semi-final spot here in Austin. It's a lovely city, it's a lovely convention, lots of people sitting and watching, enjoying the Counter-Strike that's been going on throughout the day, and we indeed on this desk are some of them. I'm Machine, I'm joined by Vendetta and Adrian to go ahead and hang out, and this tournament is sponsored by a plethora of familiar faces in the esports world, the likes of Astro, Monster, Zowie, and Corsair. Big thank you to them for making this possible. 100,000 on the line, as well as, of course, all of that esports pride. You got any esports pride, Vendetta?
I used to.
Back in the day?
Yeah, back in the day.
Back in my day.
Yeah, I used to have a bit of it, at least.
Yeah.
You know, now I've grown old, tired, and angry.
I have zero pride.
Yeah, no.
I'm sure you're all aware of that.
Throw it out the window pretty quickly.
The amount of tweets I get that just say shill. That's my favorite word. Had to Google define it at one point.
Really?
Yeah, I did. Anyway, do you know what shill means, Adrian?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. Moving swiftly on. Hey guys, Counter-Strike, HellRaisers. Where I'd like to start this discussion off, just because we described them as the gatekeeper, and I just love that analogy only because, you know, HellRaisers, gatekeeper. I had this kind of vision of them standing by like a hell gate of Tier 1 Counter-Strike.
Yeah, we actually had a very close match with HellRaisers a long time ago for the Columbus qualifiers. It came down to like it was either us or them going through, and it came down to like we came back from like a 13-7 deficit. Oh my.
Words
English
are
is
hard.
hard.
It is hard, yeah.
On Dust 2, and like they were really good actually.
Right.
Like it was actually a tough match. So like and they've kept that core for a super long time. So.
It's just it's always interesting when you see these teams that are just there, like just good enough. They can beat, you know, even the majority of the Tier 1 oppositions on any day. It's just a question of the consistency. So you're agreeing with me, right? That HellRaisers, you put them up against, you know, some of the world's best teams.
They do well for themselves.
A considerable chance to do damage.
I mean, go back to look at their first event, right? Star Ladder.
Right.
In top 4, almost beat up FaZe. I think the match was 16-14, 16-13 that they lost. You know, there's nothing to scoff at. That's a good result for HellRaisers, and they've just had this steady climb across the board. And I think it would surprise many if you look at any sort of rankings and you see HellRaisers, being a top 8 team in the world. That doesn't really like strike a lot of people as very logical, but that's kind of just been true to their trajectory as of late. They've been just playing really, really well, and they showed it at offline events too, which is where it matters.
And it does baffle me as well that they're actually communicating in a second language. Like it just like it.
Well, they could try their native language, but that would really be messy because they've got 4 different
languages. Is it 4? So you got two Slovakians, 1 Hungarian.
Oh, I guess no, it's 2 from Ukraine. It's because of Angel and Bondic, so 3.
Angel and Bondic, okay,
yeah,
cool. So 3 different languages.
Just 3.
But only 3. But I mean, it does just kind of blow your mind that they're still able to compete at that level. I mean, to be fair, FaZe are proving it as well. But I've always said, and if you'd have asked me 3 years ago when I was attempting to play games competitively, I would have also said, no, dude, we need to all be first language English, otherwise we're going to have some real tough times.
I think pretty much everyone had that kind of mindset for the longest time. Even when FaZe initially came together, strong individuals, sure, but you always have this worry like, well, what about the communication? That's always the overlying fear with all of these teams. And to be fair, in most cases, it doesn't pan out well. But I think FaZe and HellRaisers have been 2 of the teams who've kind of shown us, that we can't be wrong in that sense.
That's the luxury, of course, of living in North America, right? You've got your pick of the litter of first language English rocking around.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it makes your life
until they start, bringing in Canadians. It does get weird.
Or Spaniards.
Yeah. That's true, actually. Yeah.
But I think international teams work, but it really comes down to that success. And I think FaZe does work because there's you have Tier 1 players in it, and you're gonna get those results, so people are gonna want to stick around. But for example, if you have like this international team that moves in and people will all leave their home country, I don't think it'll work for like a long-term thing.
Yeah.
if there's not success.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Basically it's a bit of a gamble. It's a roll of the dice to see if you're going to come up snake eyes. And we're going to bring up the groups as well, just to show you where HellRaisers are. They are our first port of call, and you can see where they do stand up against Heroic in Group A. You can see the teams we've already kind of lost along the way. It was Luminosity, the first team we did wave goodbye to today. The Brazilians not quite up to par versus that of Heroic. The Danes, who are going to be doing damage to HellRaisers. That's Group A. Group B, you can see our final game of the day is locked in, and I'm sure that's where we're going to have the Austin Convention Center roaring as the super team from France goes up against Cloud9, a team that have got a lot to prove. It's going to be awesome, but that's not up just yet. The two teams will, of course, hanging out in the playoff bracket, still got their feet up, enjoying that Austin sun. And it is absurdly hot here. In case, I mean, if you're wondering, do just type in kind of Austin weather and you'll realize what we've been dealing with here in the air-conditioned convention center.
And it's so humid as well. Like, that's what really throws you off.
Dude, it feels like a swimming pool. When you go in, you feel like you should be in my trunks right now. You're like, what's going on? Why are there cars and people? Exactly. I mean, people are typically in swimming pools as well, but cars are more of a rarity. Okay, so back to that discussion. I just want to resurface what you just said there, Eric. You said that it's a bit of a gamble, and if you go in with people that don't speak English, you basically just have to see if it works. It's not like something you can try and progress over time. You just want to basically have a look how they gel, how the players work together, and then try and pursue it. Because I mean, look at the Kinguin. I mean, the Kinguin adventure did not last long.
No, well, it
did. I guess the project did, but the players didn't.
The initial players, though that dream died pretty quickly. Yeah. But obviously, you can look at the end of the adventure there. You still have some of the players obviously left in what is now FaZe. Well, you have
one of the players.
Yeah. That is some.
Yes. All right. Fine. You win this
that's
one.
That's 20%, Alex.
God damn it.
That's quite a bit.
Well, Zero, Sticko, Angel, Dead Fox, and Bondic hanging out here. Of course, this is a roster that does communicate primarily in English. Not everyone is aware of that. I always think it's an interesting one to remember. Zero and Sticko, the young bloods. Then you have some of the old guard in Angel and Bondic. Dead Fox falls under the latter, or rather the prior new up-and-coming talent. I say up-and-coming. It feels like he
been around for a while.
He has been around for a while, except this was kind of would you call this his biggest team?
Yeah, no, I think that's fair to say in that sense. Sure. Definitely the most successful.
Most successful by far. He picked up the AWP, and he had some big shoes to fill, Halvor. I mean, HellRaisers with Oscar was such a... I mean, it felt like such a boring death segment whenever we talked about them, because it was like, so,
it's like old
what are their win
right?
conditions? And you just sit there
Oscar needs to get 40 frags.
Needs to get 40 frags.
Yeah, that's pretty much how every segment went. But I think it's kind of evident that the team is way better without Oscar.
It does feel
and
like it.
Obviously that's not a slap at Oscar for being a poor player, because we can obviously see what he's doing in mousesports right now. It's just sometimes player styles don't really mesh too well, and Angel might have had an idea of how he wants to play that doesn't fit with Oscar too well, and Dead Fox is just not necessarily going to give you 30 frags every other game and be kind of the solo hero on that side. Sure. But he's going to be serviceable, and he's going to be you can hold him accountable in most situations, and I think that's more than anything what this team thrives on.
Thrive indeed, they have so far. On the other side of the stage, you can see them now setting up, doing their warm-ups, and of course all of those magical stretches that we've seen. Everyone, have you seen the Dr. Levi stretches? They're taking the esports world by storm.
I have, yeah.
You been doing any of them?
Just a little bit, because I get these things that actually build up on my wrist.
You can feel
I've had surgery on my left one.
Really?
And now I'm getting one on my right. You can see it's kind of building up here. It's called like a ganglion cyst.
What the hell? So is it from
it's just calcium buildup?
Calcium. Oh,
so physically they're genetic, but obviously I game a lot. So.
Yeah, let's stick with genetics. Definitely not gaming. But there is, it's very interesting to know just how much we are. I do feel like the professional element is just expanding every year. I'm part of this. The fact that we do have Heroic now, of course, under the Refresh organization, player-owned, they claim, and Valden, Nico, Snappy, Yugi, and Modi are hanging out in this roster. It says best map Nuke. Now, I would love to start the discussion very early as to how a team that basically formed not too long ago, new player in the roster and everything, has managed to just hit the ground running and make Nuke their home. It is scary to see. Like I've seen VP shaking versus Heroic on Nuke.
They're Danish.
Oh god damn it! Why
all you need to know.
Why does the country they're born in affect that Nuke?
Because for some, so it's something about the mentality. At least this goes back to CSS that normally when you play pickup games and gathers and that kind of thing, you go to the most puggy map, right? Like everybody wants to play a Dust 2 or a Mirage or something that's just easy and nice.
I don't think
it doesn't really require a lot, doesn't really require a lot of thought to what you're doing. But the Danes, when they play gathers, they would be like, yeah, let's play Nuke. that seems like our jam. For some reason, they just had a real affinity for the map. It doesn't
sound fun.
They love it. Maybe they're just, you know, I don't know, maybe they love pain or something, but they just have an affinity for that map, and it's definitely showing, because I can't remember the last time we saw a Danish team that was actually bad at Nuke.
So a TLDR for Halvor's reason as to why Heroic are good at Nuke is the Danes love BDSM.
Yeah, pretty much. That is
accurate. We got
accurate.
that summarized. Okay, fantastic. Well, the vetoes are going down. I do want to make sure we can stay up to date with that, because Cash gone. HellRaisers choosing to remove Cobble. Now, I know you two were having a kind of a chat pre-game.
I'm very surprised by the fact that, I'm very surprised by the fact that HellRaisers decided to leave Nuke in, because, again, we talked about it, very, very strong map for the side of Heroic. So, you know, this would have, you would assume that this would be an easy Nuke pick for Heroic, and there we go.
We did look that Cobble was starting to fall off for HellRaisers.
Yeah, they played it less and less, and it was one of their staple maps initially, but
they've kind of given up on it and just haven't touched on it recently. So, yeah, they're just going to ban that. And we definitely... Heroic just doesn't play Cash or Inferno like at all, so they have to risk a ban on that. And
Inferno is open.
If I'm HellRaisers right now, you go with Inferno.
That's smart, and
that's the pick.
This is what we kind of wanted to see out of Luminosity when they were playing versus Heroic, and it seems like HellRaisers kind of figured out, well, we're not going to go with like one of these weird maps that people actually play.
This is where you can exploit Heroic in a best of 3, because if you have 2 maps that you just don't play,
you're going to get one of them.
Exactly, and that's on Heroic. I talked quickly to Snappy. He was like, well, we're not going to have time to add another map to our map before after the minors. And they're very aware of that. It's going to be something
after the minors.
Yeah, like because they don't really have too much time to prepare, because they're going to tournament to tournament to tournament, and it's going to be. They know it's going to be a weakness that people are going to take advantage of. So the last ban really from Heroic being Mirage. Not too surprising.
Overpass.
Overpass should be the last map. I think if HellRaisers want to go with their strength, and they do, because I mean. Mirage and Train are the maps that they played each other in EPL online, and obviously with how the veto works that's not too surprising. But I think if HellRaisers want to obviously finish it off on their best foot, Overpass has been a very good map for them. As you saw according to the infograph, that Overpass had actually, statistically been their best map over the last 3 months. So for them going into their comfort pick to potentially end the entire series on, I think that's a good choice.
It's interesting to me that the discussion surrounding Heroic having 2 guaranteed must-ban maps. Like there is no example of that.
I think they kind of got screwed over by the fact that obviously Inferno gets thrown. Yeah, Inferno gets thrown into it, right? And that does throw a bit of a spanner in the works. Plus, they've had a new lineup, and then they start going to tournaments. So you start off by just finding out the core maps that you want to play. Again, we saw like with Gambit, started out as a three map team, and that takes you so far. They found a lot of success with that, but eventually you're going to get figured out. You're going to have to expand your map pool, and that's kind of the process that Heroic find themselves in as well. Even though they do have to play Inferno, which they don't necessarily have too much experience with, or no experience more or less as a team, especially with Yugi in it, I still think it's it's near enough to the predecessor or like the older version of the map that they can still have basic ideas of how they want to go about it. I still think we're going to see Yugi, have at least a lot of opportunities to play aggressively and banana with that off. And everyone has obviously like played the map multiple times, not necessarily in officials, but you've played it in FPL, what have you, to the point where the basic flashes, pop flashes, and smokes and mollies, and the general play style that you should have on the new map.
I mean, it's safe to assume, right, that Snappy's going to have some back pocket strats from the old Inferno.
Yeah. I mean, I think even with the new map, everybody kind of knows the basic, like how you set up for an arch wrap, how you set up for.
The smokes are very different.
They are slightly, but it takes you about 5 minutes. It takes you about 5 minutes before you find the right ones. You have the hay balls smokes for apps. Throw, if you don't know the correct pop flash for it, then you use 2 flashes instead, just to kind of have excess utility for to just make up for this fact that you're not going to be as accurate as you would have liked.
I actually had when it was first dropped and we were going into a Face It game, I was told by my friends were like, yo, you've got to watch this video quickly. You've got to watch this smoke video because we're going into Inferno for the first time.
You can learn it all.
And it was an 8-minute video with this guy called, what's his name? I think it was Adren.
Hoagie.
Adren?
Oh.
The Hoagie? Yeah.
Who's this guy?
It was a nice, succinct video. I've got a great coffin
I think I've seen that too, actually.
I've got a great coffin smoke from this guy.
Oh.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I don't do very well.
I try.
I don't. But I can throw a good smoke. Really good. Master of smokes. Anyway, my awful CS side, we have got some good stuff coming for you. We need predictions first. Now, I feel like you guys have painted a picture for a third map here, suggesting that Heroic going to stroll through Nuke. Then you're going to see HellRaisers stroll through their map pick, and then what happens after Inferno?
After Inferno on Overpass, I'm actually going to side with Heroic. I think I just kind of like the lineup. I like, from seeing Yugi, Nico, and Valde play together, that trio really just have so much firepower. I think that's going to be something they can utilize heavily on a map like Overpass. You know, CT side, they're going to have the opportunity to go aggressive, whether it's, you know, with rifles or ops in that matter. And again, Heroic have been, you know, pretty solid. There are no slouches on that map either. Even though it's statistically HellRaiser's best map, I still think they have a very simple way of playing it. They're not too advanced with how they're doing it. A lot of it comes out from defaults. And if Heroic have done some homework to it, they should be aware of that, and I think that's exploitable.
Yeah, when I look at the rosters just back-to-back, I just see so much more explosive talent on Heroic.
Yeah.
Where unless HellRaisers really has those strats, it's really going to, you know, mess with Heroic setups and, you know, not allow, you know, Yugi to get those opening picks or Valde to get those extra, like, 2-3 Ks of sneak kills that he gets. So I don't know. I just see that I can't see Heroic getting outshot here.
Yeah.
And that's actually a trap that a lot of, I think, teams and analysts fall into, though, regarding HellRaisers, is that, you know, you see, you don't, there's no names that spring to mind when you think HellRaisers. You don't think, oh, that Sticko 1v3. You don't think, oh, Dead Fox was getting all those entries. But they do kind of, like, they kind of climb up on you.
Kind of
like,
remind me of, like, a flip side.
Yeah, perfect example. Yeah, exactly.
Like,
I'm sure Bondic will love that comparison.
They're just like a good fundamental team. They do things right. And, you know, just not flashy, but they get it done.
Yeah,
perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah, it does feel kind of like a Blade team, somewhat. But fundamentals from HellRaisers, I don't think are going to be enough. And actually, I'm going to go and join the bandwagon with Heroic as well. 3. I was building up for a HellRaisers prediction, but you know what? I do just see a world. I can't see a world where. I can't see a world where, you know, Valde's not going to show up on one of those 3 maps.
I'm actually really curious to see how Inferno's going to play out, just because of the individual firepower that Heroic have on their side. Because you would expect HellRaisers to be obviously like have a pretty significant advantage going into that map, but again, it's a new map. We see random results. We see teams that, you know, should be very, very good on it, like teams like SK, Cloud9 or something.
Sure.
Not necessarily do that well because they haven't really found a good rhythm on how to play it, and I think Heroic might be just super random in that sense, to the point where HellRaisers aren't really sure what the hell's going on.
Yeah, that's like the question. Like, usually if you're not practiced, you're not very confident, so you won't go for those aggressive peaks, but since they have nothing to go off of, really, you might as well go for those confident peaks.
Absolutely.
So,
well, it's going to be tough. It's going to be confusing to get our predictions as well. Talking of confusing, our casters are ready. Dazed and Confused are ready to get into this one. Gentlemen, what do we make of it? We're expecting a 3 no matter what. Blue, what's your call?
I am going to have to go with the way that everybody else has been predicting this one. I would say Heroic as well. I do think it's going to go to all 3 maps, but I think at the end of the day, the individualistics of the rosters is going to shine through, and they'll be able to take it 2-1.
All right, Dazed, you want to rock that boat? You did it last time. You were the Mr. YOLO. It didn't quite work out.
Well, no, I've gotten every prediction right so far.
What?
Yeah,
I thought you,
no, he was the one who actually went against the grain.
Yeah,
oh, he went against Cloud9.
He went full on patriotism, and it worked.
Yeah.
I thought he went for Liquid. I thought he went for Liquid.
But I'm actually, I don't know why I'm so confident in this. It's probably because we just saw Nico.
I mean,
he's just so
every
good.
time he has a deagle.
Yeah, every time,
just so good.
Every time anyone has a deagle, they're just like, that guy's so good.
Yeah, anytime I see good
just
D-clips,
one kill,
yeah.
he's amazing.
Yeah, I'm just that guy. I see a 4K D clip, I'm like, this guy's maybe the best player I've seen in my life.
There you go. All right, Dazed is a Deagle fanboy, and you've got a best of 3 to cast, boys. Enjoy.
All right, thank you very much. Yep, we're getting prepared to jump into the first map now. It's going to be Nuke again here between these 2 teams, battling it out for one of the last semifinal spots up for grabs here at DreamHack Austin Days. What do we make of this matchup going into it initially?
I think this is going to be extremely close.
Yeah.
I actually slightly lean Heroic as well, just because, you know, even though, like on the desk, everyone was talking about HellRaisers kind of fundamentally good, sometimes I see a lot of little flaws in how they play, especially like on Nuke, for instance, when Adren was taking outside by himself, not adapting the way that I think they need to be in order to beat like really, really good, you know, sound teams. I definitely think Heroic just has these individually talented players that could take over this match, right? Like you look at Nico, Valde, and even their opper. How do you even say this name properly? Yugi.
I think that's how
I'm like Charles Barkley. I just butcher every name. So, but yeah, I think they have 3 players that could potentially, you know, win an overpass or even Inferno. I'm not even counting them out on Inferno, even though they don't play it.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those maps where you know, as an individual, you could really shine on at times.
I think the decision to let Nuke go through as well is definitely going to be one that HellRaisers might end up regretting. Obviously, having to leave one of these maps open. They tried to play it yesterday, didn't really go so well, and Heroic has already shown, not just in this tournament, but in other tournaments in the past, that they can really dominate on Nuke, not just because of their Danish heritage, but as a 5-man roster as well.
And another thing is, HellRaisers actually beat Heroic in EPL, I believe it was, on Train. But they banned it here in order to play Overpass, and they beat them on Train like 16-6. But I actually think that was a good decision because what we saw from Heroic on Train against Gambit, they actually looked really good. I mean, that triple overtime game, right? And another thing is, even though HellRaisers gets the Inferno pick, as we are going to go live here, we still all kind of lean Heroic, right?
Yeah, I would say so, definitely. Well, we are getting into it now, folks. It's HellRaisers versus Heroic. Let's see who can claim map number 1 now in this new best-of-3 set as we get to the final decider matches of each group. And starting it off, Snappy is going to take up the mantle inside of Mini here to try and watch out for pressure. Valdi finding himself in an engagement outside here as well. As he tries to fall back a little bit. Angel trying to test the waters slightly, but overall going to end up falling back there as these teams are being very, very cautious, but still very decisive in the way that they are going to be able to move in through ramp and take pretty easy control here. The whole site's already under their mass now, and we have to see if Heroic's even really going to be able to do much about this. Is Valde going to be able to move in and finally picks up that first kill there against Angel with the bomb? In just a moment, he's going to go down to the ground, as we can see. Starting the timer, Heroic surrounding the site, going to be looking for the retake, but everyone from HR is inside, ready to hold it. Zero lining up that kill, but Yugi with the response, and now they're getting ready to move in for Vent. This is going to be a little bit rough trying to push back out here. Thankfully, the trades are working out okay for Heroic right now as they do move in, retake partial control of the site. Valdi kind of losing himself on the way into the double doors, but he hits the shot anyway, knocking out Dead Fox, and now it's just Bondic, but Bondic through the little hole there, picks up 1 kill. He's got 2 more to go, finds one of them, but he can't hit the last shot. It's Yugi that clutches out the final 1v1, and he should just have enough time to be able to defuse this bomb and give Heroic the pistol.
Yeah, I wish I saw a little bit more of Heroic's setup there because it seemed like a complete retake on lower, but then their outside presence looked like it was only Valde, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Was it just a full upper stack? I didn't quite catch exactly what their strat was, but regardless, I mean, retaking the lower site like that is generally pretty difficult, but Valde, he kills the outside player in Angel, and he's also holding the backside and the window area, and all of the backside essentially, right? So they still have a lot of control, and because of that control, they're able to retake together and, you know, force HellRaisers to this full eco.
Yeah, as far as I can tell in that last round, I don't think that Heroic had anyone in ramp, and if they did, they were pretty far back, over by like the Hell hallway or something like that. So they just let HellRaisers walk right into it.
But you know what that could have been is a lot of the time when you see strats like that implemented, a lot of the time it could be just a hard, like, hey, you know, we've seen a lot of their pistol rounds and they seem to go upper a lot. Let's just full stack it or something like that.
So Valde being able to find the first kill here already. A somewhat light buy from HR, of course, in the second round now, as they are trying to save up for the third round to fully invest here. They bought a little bit of utilities. They may still try to bargain their way into one of the 2 sites to at the very least get a plant, but already being stunted here outside is not going to help their case necessarily. And for the others, we can see that they still hold pretty heavy presence inside of the lobby trying to take control there, but now with outside presence being completely gone, they're going to try to battle for the upper site, but it's just not going to work out so well. Dead Fox already the last man alive, but he goes down without too much of a fight. It'll be essentially a team ace just without Monty picking up a kill there for Heroic.
I do like that style of full ecoing though, where you just get 1 or 2 guys at Deagle, and you literally just wait, and they're just like, hey, maybe they just get a kill or 2, maybe we can get the bomb down or something and hurt their economy a bit. Especially if Heroic doesn't give Nico a deagle no matter what, they're messing up. Like, he should always have one. Even if you just are full, like, reset at 1400, he should always have one.
Yeah, we've seen many times someone Nico's able to work out with that gun, so definitely going to be wanting to have him have that in some of these eco rounds here. But now we do get onto the investment for HellRaisers. Still quite a few UMPs on the buy for Heroic as well, so it is going to lessen their capabilities a little bit. Obviously, though, they still have the money, so in the event they do lose this round, they're just going to come right back in with full M4s and whatnot. However, Angel starts this off well with this push outside, moving in to just destroy Valde right outside of Heaven area on the catwalk there, and gives them an early 5v4 advantage. And it looks like the rest of the team is going to follow up upon this outside kill and pretty much just move together to stay out here and then transition this down through Secret as we're seeing now. Madi will be resisting that from the other side of the steps here as soon as they get themselves into the hallway. And I believe Snappy's also down here too, just outside of the vent. So they have a good cross angle. Now they need to execute upon it perfectly. Madi, though, is going to whiff big time on the first initial spray. Doesn't get a whole lot of damage out at all. Bondic will be able to punish that pretty easily. Nico jumping down, that's going to be your teammate, so calm it down a little bit there. 4HR now, moving through the halls, trying to get themselves out onto this site, but Heroic have a read on this. Thankfully, that doesn't seem to matter too much. Snappy able to hold for 1 kill. He might go down directly after this, though, but no, keeps himself alive, and just like that, Heroic hold on and pick up that round.
Yeah, just a round that Heroic full rotates really to lower, and the take by HellRaisers just was very, very sloppy. No trade kills going on. You know, that player was in a very bad spot. They're coming down underneath him from decon. They're peeking the window side as well. You expect, you know, Snappy to not be able to multi-frag here, but all 3 players just going down to him, and Yugi getting the other 2, I believe, from ramp.
So that is going to cause the eco round to come in now for HR, and obviously quite a few more rifles in check for Heroic this time.
But that's what I was talking about, where you see these situations where HellRaisers, maybe it's the communication aspect, but that was a round that they should definitely win. They had both players trapped in vent. HellRaisers had full decon control, full window side control. The only thing they have to worry about is the vents, if somebody's behind sight, and from ramp. That's it. That's all they have to worry about. That's a round that they should win.
And even at the end there, it seemed like they had them surrounded pretty well there. We came
exactly.
to the Heroics,
and,
no pun intended, of a few
and
players.
just those little tiny mistakes are what I see from HellRaisers, which, you know, if they could fix those, they could beat any team. But it just seems, it just happens all the time. It's like almost like their worst enemy is themselves at times.
Yeah, no. So now it's looking like HellRaisers again try to make this attempt at a bid for outside control, but just not going to get anywhere with it at all. It's an absolute shutdown for Heroic as they're given another chance to build up what's already turning into a pretty massive economy here, for being honest. Snappy already completely full bought into this round, sitting at 10K. Valde, the same situation at 7K. Others are a little bit lower, between 2,500 to 3,500, but still, those 2 alone have built up a massive amount of cash, and if HellRaisers don't start making some serious impact on the gun rounds here, that's going to get out of control very, very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, when they won that 3rd round, they still had a lot of umps and whatnot. You know, Snappy getting 2 ump kills, picking up the AK. So you're right, their economy is pretty stacked at this point. And now one of the things that HellRaisers was very successful with, even though they did get pretty crushed by Gambit on this map, was that they were able to go out upper and take it pretty cleanly on Zeus. So it looks like that's kind of like one of their strengths, is being able to take that upper site. We'll see if Heroic is going to, you know, have a better hold, though. Because I do think they'll... Right now, they're just kind of waiting out their smokes, waiting until they have an opportunity to go out upper, and it looks like that's probably what they will end up doing.
Yeah, it's a big stack inside of lobby and the roof right now for HR, so they're definitely going to be trying to make an upper play here in a second. Meanwhile, on the Heroic side, they are going to have to probably rotate quite a few players around pretty quickly. Snappy in the site, but yeah, the Molly is going to send him into the open. They're not looking towards the open portion of the site, though, so Snappy's allowed to get that first kill for free and then dive back into the smoke. Yugi and Nico chime in for 2 more here. Valde holding as well. Again, HellRaisers just make no progress at all, and it's a clean shutdown from Heroic to pick up their 5th round.
Yeah, and the difference there is when they were playing against Gambit, it was literally just Zeus basically by himself. But this time they have 2 players there. There's no outside presence at all, so Yugi's able to rotate really, really quick. They had no mini smoke or anything like that, and without any outside presence, you have to worry about mini. So Snappy gets the first kill, that guy coming outdoor, he's not even looking towards them, and then just smartly hides in the smoke to stay alive. You know, garners so much attention towards him, really makes his teammates' job a lot easier.
So now we go into another half-by round here for HR. Door opening up a little bit early, so as you can see, Snappy trying to hold that back. Only gets some damage on the Stico, though, nothing serious after that. And for HR, well, they're moving pretty quickly down here. Nice no-scope from Yugi, but unfortunately, 3 other players are also trying to run him over, and they will succeed in that. But now Snappy going to be moving into the halls to try and shut down this attempt at a plant, and they'll essentially succeed now, as it is down to Stico, who got this control at upper, or was able to push himself back out after being sprayed down just a few moments ago. But now, after picking up an additional kill here, he's down at 40 HP, really doesn't have any bargaining power left within this round, and is probably just going to try to navigate himself back down there, seeing if he can make any play for it. But as we can see there, Valde is waiting for him to transition through the lobby, and we'll get a quick shutdown on the round.
Yeah, Yugi pretty out of position there. I think he was worried that someone was actually down the vents, not able to hear those players coming down outside as well towards Secret. Does get 1 kill, but they don't get punished for it because the rotate from Heroic is so quick. You saw Madi was there right away, just instantly. You don't expect when you kill that player at the secret steps for somebody to be in window side that fast. And Madi, you know, saving that round from there off that very, very fast rotate.
So once again, fairly standard stacks going out here. Another little bit of a battle for the main doorway leading into A between Snappy and I believe it was Stiko that tried to push out towards it, but there's a little bit of damage to Snappy. The door is Snappy, excuse me, and the door is opened back up. No kills
really
found yet,
nice
but that's going to change now.
Yugi to get Valde that kill.
That's going to lead to another 5v4. Early advantage going in the way of Heroic now. And Dead Fox still hunting for another pickup here outside. If he can try and catch a trade onto Yugi or someone else that would help their case in getting this control, and again trying to get down towards Secret. But still, they've really been struggling in this early round, and we're going to see another example of that right there. Yugi hitting the shot. Thankfully, someone from Heroic does get a little bit over-aggressive there, and the patience from Bondic, it works out.
Not a good peek by Valde. Had he just stayed alive, made sure he kills anybody trying to wrap towards heaven, literally just for the map awareness alone, he's worth his weight in gold. But instead kind of gives it up and, you know, gives HellRaisers a chance to, anytime somebody goes down on the CT side, there's going to be openings on Nuke. There's going to be an angle where you can get aggressive, but Snappy, just 2 huge kills.
Yeah, great stuff from him. 1 in the window and then 1 out the door as he shuts down.
HellRaisers was ready for that too. Like, that player in Hut was peeking that for that kill, and he just instantly crushes that peak.
Yeah, so it is looking like a dominant first half so far from Heroic.
But the way HellRaisers is trying to take outside is they're not doing like that triple smoke wall. They're actively looking for kills. But that's going to open you up to flash peeks like that, where Yugi's coming from around ramp or heaven, and he's flashing for Valde, and Valde is going to be able to peek around the red bin, around, you know, big garage, and find those kills because of the way that HellRaisers is trying to take control of outer.
Now again, HellRaisers stacking quite a few players inside of the lobby. In fact, it's basically gone back to that full default stack with, I think, 1 or 2 players trying to push for outside control. And that's essentially just Angel going over here into the first cubby, you know, on the T side of Mini right now. But that's all he's going to hold. He's not even really actively looking to take control of anything here. I think he's hoping that the CTs may try to move in and get a little bit aggressive. The rest of HellRaisers going for a bit of a vent dive. And now this is going to lead to Angel also transitioning into Secret to take control here. Fast control moving in. Bondic does trade out for 1 kill, gets himself control of the site so he can at least get the plant. But already we've got Heroic members moving back in for the retake. Bondic, instead of sticking the plant, tries to go for the kill on Valde. And Valde now drops the bomb carrier, prevents the plant. Snappy coming back in from Secret. Dead Fox finding 1 more kill up on top here by A, but now he's down at 2 HP, and he's got to try to drop down the vents, which Snappy definitely heard and just lines up to execute the last kill. Again, another round going by the way of Heroic here.
Yeah, and I'm just not sure if I really agree with the strategy so far from HellRaisers, where so on the gun rounds that we've seen, and a lot of the rounds in general, they look for the kills on outside. They don't really smoke things off, so they're not really looking for map control. That's where they're looking to take the battles. And then besides that, they just did a full upper take, essentially, you know, after they wait out some smokes, but they don't, you know, cause any rotates from the CT side. So Heroic's going to have 3 players there. And now, you know, we're going to see Angel. He's pretty much going to go outside every single round, and it looks like they're more towards the lobby this time. So now they're kind of causing some type of rotation. They're going to get the CTs moving a little bit before they either hit ramp or upper.
But now, as we take a look across the board here at HellRaisers, after they did move Angel into this early Secret control again, the rest of the team is still, for the most part, stuck inside of lobby. Looking at Heroic, again, still in their own default setup now. They've already got Snappy down to try and prevent Angel or anyone else that would have gone for Secret control to actually get access to B. Monty's watching out for the ramp play. The thing is, though, Monty's going to have a lot of work to do if they follow through upon that one. Bondic did get a kill back over here inside of the shed, so if Monty pushes them back, they could try to swing this into the upper side instead, but Monty gets pushed back without getting any kills, just a little bit of damage onto these players. Dead Fox finds Valde as well as he tries to push back in towards Hell over there. Monty is your big focal player right now as he chooses to take this battle, but that proves to be a mistake as Stiko knocks him out, leaving only Yugi alive in this 1v5. And probably not going to be able to make an attempt at this, so we'll be falling back to save in a moment here, finally putting HellRaisers onto the board.
And HellRaiser's strategy there, which I really, really like, this time they did the outside smokes. Angel gets to Secret steps, then they fake upper after the ramp smoke dissipates, and they go ramp together with 4 players. That was their strategy there. Bondic fakes upper out the hut. I think they even had somebody on the roof throwing things. And that kind of opens up ramp. A lot of the time when you send that Secret presence, somebody has to go lower. Usually there's only going to be 1 outside or 1 ramp because of that, and probably no ramp rotator. And it really opens up the map. You know, and make sure you're not going to go into a stack. It spreads out the defense, and then you're able to get clean 1-on-1 gun battles or, you know, 2-on-1 trade kills.
well, into the next round, as obviously Heroic still have plenty of cash flow to be able to continue to buy into these fully here. A lot of utility going to be used early on, and Valde taking an advanced position, gets himself a double with it before being traded out by Bondic. Massive early kills from him, and now Yugi getting into the picture as well. He's able to move back out from CT Hell, being able to find another pickup here, leaving this down to a 4v2 and stopping HellRaisers moving out towards Secret. I don't think they have any smokes. Actually, they got one left on Dead Fox here, but they're going to want to actually use it for the site. As again, Stiko finds himself in a little bit of combat, and while he does find a kill after his own death against Snappy, still ends up getting knocked out and now leaves Dead Fox alone in this round to try and clutch it out 1v3. So he's going to attempt to make a play and just slowly shift in for the mini, but they're waiting for him in there. Nico takes up the position on the upper catwalk and will be able to shut out Dead Fox and again restore control for Heroic and just reset the losing bonus for HellRaisers. They've got another buy coming up here, but after that, they're going to more than likely end up in full eco territory again.
Yeah, a good angle there. You see the shadow of the player before he even peeks you, so you're able to essentially pre-fire him. They kind of line up. Valde getting that 2-for-1, and as attention is shifted towards Valde, Yugi able to just get a quick op kill, you know, essentially putting it into a 4v2.
Yeah, quickly it's time from HellRaisers, though, to try and move out, at least in the hallway towards ramp. Bonnie continues to go for those aggressive peeks, though, so he's able to move forward. I think he even spots this player hugging the left wall. He is able to steal a kill from one further back on Bondic, but traded up by Stiko, which is going to open up the ramp room now. No one else really trying to rotate into that immediately to prevent it. Yugi is here, but I think he's a little bit further back currently. Mainly just watching out if anybody's going to push over towards his hallway. Snappy is downstairs in control, though, so he's got a great position to counter this back out. And the rest of HR are trying to consider whether they want to follow through with this or use their outside control now to try and go in through mini instead, although that may not end up working out so well. As now Valde getting himself back into the action outside from right outside of the warehouse. He picks up one kill and lights up another one. That's Dead Fox now down at 4 HP, and this combined with the earlier damage done to Stiko and Zero is going to make this a tough post plant if they can even get into the site. They do, but it's an even 2v2 situation now. Snappy rotating in, but Yugi kind of went out on his own regard there, so now leave Snappy alone to try and clutch this one back out. He's just going to go for it, though. Wrapping around, finds the position of the planter, but can't actually take him out immediately. Now he's stuck in the open, and HellRaisers in theory could close out upon this, but the positioning isn't that great. The nade from Snappy should close out, but it doesn't bounce far enough. Stiko escapes inside of the window and inside of the shed, but reads into it as that last peek comes out from Stiko. So he's still going to be able to clutch this back out and give Heroic a 10th round.
Yeah, that 2v1 was very nicely played. The nade, though, he jumps in the window just right in time to dodge it. And Stiko doesn't play at the time at all, just tries to run out the hut to kill him. Usually you wait until he is about to defuse the bomb, and then you do. So we're going to see a pause come out. Valde, again, though, I mean, he's doing great at outside. He's really punishing this outside aggression from HellRaisers, where they're looking for kills, they're looking for the battles, and Valde is winning the battles every single time. You know, getting one, staying alive. That's twice now that I think he got a little bit over-aggressive. I think if he doesn't re-peek that player on mini and just spots him and stays alive, I think that round goes Heroic's way a little bit easier. But at the end of the day, they're trying to take outside, and they're looking for gun battles, and he's winning them more often than not. And usually when he loses one and he dies, Yugi's right there to get the trade kill and stay alive.
So nothing working here for HellRaisers so far. They do call for a quick pause, but it should be unpaused in just a moment, because I think they've already resolved it. So
so far, it's just been Valde and Yugi. They take the initial battles at outside, right? They usually put them in an advantageous situation, and then they kill the outside players. Then all the guys in lobby almost always run into Snappy, where he just destroys them and almost never even dies doing it. Like he's almost always getting 2 kills when it's like a 3v4 and whatnot, right? He's always the next line of contact. It's just been those 3 guys that are taking those initial, contact battles versus HellRaisers and winning the duels pretty much every single time.
You can see that on the scoreboard just looking at the kills for those 3 players now. Snappy and Valde both leading the way right now with 14 frags each, and then Yugi coming in from behind, basically acting as the closer in a lot of these situations with the op with 10 kills so far in this map. But into another round here, and it's going to be a a bit of a broken buy for HellRaisers, various UMPs and AKs along with a Deagle buy coming in there for Angel, but he's just moving in to take outside control, and it is looking like HellRaisers are going to try to go for a fast upper play. These have almost never worked though, and in fact they've been utterly shut down 9 times out of 10 so far when they've tried it, and it's going to be the same exact thing here. It's already down to Dead Fox. Snappy's going to shut the door in his face, swing it open again. That'll be a little bit greedy though, as Dead Fox does actually hold in that situation. Thankfully still the round is very much under the control of Heroic. So just a little bit of messing around since they do have this huge lead going in their favor, and there's basically no worries for these Heroic players right now.
Yeah, and you know, Heroic's just playing a very, very standard default setup, and when you're playing a standard default setup like that, it's just not going to work. Just trying to go out upper, like pretty much drive like that. It's just not going to, because you don't even have a mini smoke, right? And Valde sees that you're not pushing anything outside, so all of a sudden he's towards mini. Then you have a player top hut, which is one of the most powerful positions in upper. And then you still have a player silo, and then Yugi is watching outside from around underneath heaven or heaven, and he's going to be a quick rotate. You're essentially going into 4 players of Heroic, all in crossfires.
Yep. So Heroic continuing to set themselves up for it, and Bondic just wanted to try and escape for a plant, but he couldn't even get that, unfortunately, in this round, as HellRaisers went for a light buy, but the round itself is pretty much already done for here. A rare miss from Yugi, but thankfully escapes with his life here still, and now it's just a matter of hunting down Zero as the last man standing, and they succeed in that one too. More and more of these nearly flawless rounds from Heroic, and the money continues to shine through as they have essentially an infinite amount for these last 2 rounds, and they went this entire half with basically, you know, that huge buildup. Never once were even threatened in terms of their money overall here, so HellRaisers are just a very, very poor T-half for the most part. And at best, they're going to be able to try and pick up these last 2 rounds and make it 12-3. But even that's going to be difficult here because we just haven't really seen a whole lot of progress or change-ups to make these gun runs look a little bit better for HR at all.
This is such a good read by Heroic.
Valde's going to put himself behind the cubby again, walking around. I'm not sure if he realized one player went up on top of the box, but still gets the lineup, pick up one player. Close-up battle against Angel. He will get traded up from there, but the good news is he did spot the play into Secret before going down, along with executing, I believe it was Zero in the process. So they'll be able to read into this. Snappy moving out, catches the trade kill onto Angel, but Dead Fox is going to be moving up, trying to look for a little bit of revenge. He won't be able to find it just yet, as the CTs did evacuate inside of the upper bomb site, waiting to see if HR are going to follow through with this hit here now, which they should do. They're still at a disadvantaged position in terms of their numbering, and they haven't even followed through with taking this into the site just yet. All their players stuck on the secret hallway and the vents hallway, still trying to take up positions so they can fully execute into this site. There will be a few players from Heroic also waiting downstairs too. One of them is going to be Madi, right inside of control. Already able to line up his first target against Dead Fox here. Sneeko tries to prevent these players from dropping down on the opposite site, but they cannot do it. Snappy just barges his way in there and picks up now the 13th round for Heroic.
Yeah, and Heroic basically wanted to have 3 players outer because they knew HellRaisers were going to go outside. It's just like the obvious call in that situation. And HellRaisers, both times that we have seen them play on Nuke, the CT-sided team has known pretty much exactly strategically how they're going to play almost every single round, and have countered it, right? Gambit knew, and now Heroic's doing the exact same.
Well, now from HellRaisers, obviously forcing into this last round as much as they can, but even there, it's not going to be so great. Not going to be having a whole lot of utility after they've already used this first volley of it. As you can see, they've got a single Molotov and a smoke afterwards. Mollies from the CTs even hitting them as well. That's Angel and Sneeko taking massive damage, and Snappy, not fearing anything at all, just goes directly into the A main doorway and takes out Sneeko, so he knows there's no presence there, and they more than likely have dropped down, but he gets a little bit greedy in moving in. Angel not only able to pick up Snappy when he drops down the vents, but also Madi in the site. Yugi's going to get mollied off from the left side, trying to force his way back over here, and at the very least trade on the players on the site when they go for that plant, but he can't find anyone in the open right now. The bomb being planted from within a smoke, so he's missed that call. And Valde trying to wrap back in. He's not really going to be in a safe position either, as he's spotted out by Zero, knocked out of the round. And now Nico is going to be the last hope on this secret flank, trying to open up the defenses here, and he'll succeed on his initial kill. Moves in, knocks out Zero. He's going to continue forward, but now he's walking into a crossbar. He's got to be careful, and he just lost Yugi. So Bondic and Dead Fox will pick up those last few kills and at least give HellRaisers one more round to close out upon this half. 13-2, though. It is going to be rough to make any sort of a comeback in the second half.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, strategically speaking, so it doesn't work it outside. You're not able to get the kills. You're not able to trade effectively or anything. Valde and Yugi are doing a really good job playing off of each other. They're almost always going at least a man up when you're hitting outside, and you're looking for those duels. And then when you try to do the cross smokes, you're losing a round, but then you're trying to play the next gun round off the round that you lost. So for instance, they do the cross smokes and they send 4 towards lower, right? And then like 1 towards lobby. But then that doesn't work. And then the next time you do the cross smokes, you just send 1 there and then you go out upper, right? And then the next time they do the cross smokes, they kind of fake upper and outside and just go towards ramp, right? And maybe send 1 outside. But when you start losing rounds like that and you're playing against a team like Heroic, they kind of know, they see like these little reads. Oh, you didn't throw many flashbangs at outside. It's probably just going to be a ramp or an upper play, right? So just a little bit too predictable, I think, from HellRaisers, and the whole game plan just kind of got shut down from Heroic.
Well, guys, we are going live with the second half here now, and we're going to see if HellRaisers have any fight left in them to make a comeback at all, or if this is just going to be a clean sweep for Heroic to take control on the first map. And the Danish prowess on this map still will continue to shine through here. So just with the pistol round victory, they can essentially seal the deal, and they're not going to waste any time with their execute out through the shed, and immediately impacting as Yugi picks up that first kill. Basically 0 room for response so far from any of these CTs, as they did give the raid boss buy over to Valde, and he's already made impact with that one. Yugi getting the 1 kill on his own regard, but that's traded back out. The bad news is for HellRaisers is that they went down towards the bottom site, and most of HR was sitting up here in heaven, so they've got a long rotate where Snappy's just going to be waiting for them in the ramp room. It's a perfect setup, it's a perfect trap, and he's almost single-handedly shut down the round. Stico is going to get the trade kill, but it matters very little now, as he walks in, everyone is set up to counter out his push. He's at 20 HP, moves in, is able to hit a nice headshot against Valde, but he's got a whole lot more work to do and not a lot of time to do it. Thankfully, he's got a kit at the very least, so it buys him that extra 5 seconds to make the play happen. Spotting one of the players, you can assume that there's going to be one hiding on a decomp, but Nico's so patient, doesn't even have to peek for it. Just his presence alone is enough to hold him off the plan, and finally, Monty's able to push in, shut it down, and almost now secure this map for Heroic.
Yeah, and they made a really smart decision to just go down the vent, and all 3 players of HellRaisers are in CT heaven. So really difficult for them to do any type of lower retake. And Snappy, I gotta say, man, these guys from Heroic, a lot of these players are just really, really impressive. I didn't know Snappy had this. He's won every gun battle. I don't think he's gone down without killing 1 player like instantly yet. Every single gun battle he's pretty much won and usually gotten 2.
That's what the power of Snappy shining through, especially here on this map, along with some of the others in that setup that they had. It has made them pretty much an unstoppable force here. HellRaisers are going to have to hope that they've prepared something special for Inferno, as if not, there's going to be, based on this performance here, a real chance that Heroic could just snag that map as well and try to make it a 2-0 victory. But we're not done here just yet. Still a chance for HellRaisers to potentially eco upset and start themselves on a comeback trail, but we just haven't seen any signs of life. We are on another side now, so there's hope that maybe the CT side was prepared a little bit better for them on this map, but in its current form, it's just not looking like it. We will have to wait and see, however, as Heroic are being a lot more passive about the way they open up upon this second round here. Players just holding inside of lobby and with partial outside control too. They pushed in for. The first battle may actually happen over here and by the CT locker rooms as Dead Fox finds Valde moving out towards him. In a moment, he's going to spot Yugi as well, but a CZ versus AK at that range is definitely going to go into the favor of the AK as Yugi finds that kill, shutting it out, and now they just have a pinch on this upper bomb site, which they can move in upon Heaven and completely try to just destroy the defenses systematically. But Angel surprises, gets that kill from Secret and is actually going to drop the bomb outside, which could cause a fuse problem. Not only this, but Stico wrapping around. Great movement from him as he's able to box out Body, taking him down. Valde able to trade now from up on Heaven, and the elimination of Angel should put everything pretty much back on track here. But Zero, he's got one more chance, swinging open the door, but unfortunately his first target is behind the box. He's not going to be able to execute that, and then Snappy reacts, taking him down and putting Heroic up to map point.
I mean, again, the strategy-wise, HellRaiser's setup was Dead Fox watching outside with a CZ from underneath Heaven. That's like their entire yard presence. Like it's an impossible scenario for Dead Fox to succeed there. You know, it's just not going to happen. So just questionable decision-making in my mind from HellRaisers.
Yeah, now it's going to put them up against the wall, and not with the greatest buy either here. 2 UMPs, a single scout sitting on Dead Fox, and then just upgraded pistols besides that. Valde already trying to move in for a little bit of outside control too, and they pretty much have it for free, as we can see. There's not a lot of resistance coming in from HR at all. They have a few players down Seeker trying to resist. Dead Fox was behind the alley box over there, but that's a pretty easy kill for Snappy to get, as we've seen. It's just going to be one of the pistol players, I think, that was sitting back over in that direction. But now, oh no, all right. well, I guess we'll have to try and save it here now, as we can still see in game, thankfully. Zero is able to pick up 1 kill from the CT locker rooms as Snappy looks for 1 as well. As he's going to try to push in and basically, again, looking for this same sort of pinch that they did in the last room here, with Madi knocking out Stiko. That's going to take him down. 1 more response from Zero, however, and leaves it down to just a few more, but as Madi picks up that kill, it's going to be just Zero sitting inside, hoping to defend it with Bondik as he holds the second vent. Yugi, Nico, and Madi just taking their time with this. They're down to about 40 seconds remaining on the clock here now, as they do decide to go downstairs instead. And this is actually going to be a pretty smart choice, as they'll move in, they'll find the site completely open and very easy to take control over. And Nico's basically going to be able to walk in and get the free plant. The rest of his teammates are set up as well. Madi moving into midi is going to be able to find Bondik. And now Zero sitting on top of the cross rafter, up on top of the A-bomb site, has to try and save this for his team. He has managed to scavenge an AK, and looks like in a moment he's going to go for the vent drop down, trying to push himself in this direction, but he'll be eliminated by Yugi, and that is going to set it up for victory by Heroic, as they will take full control of this map, 16-2 being the final scoreline.
You know, just pretty dominant from Heroic from every single aspect. I mean, strategically speaking, I just think HellRaisers is a couple steps behind. I don't think you could run your T-side strategy for the first, 8 rounds or so, just based off, hey, let me find kills on outside, and take gun battles there. And that's how we're going to try to, open up rounds, right, without those, like, triple cross moves. So instead of prioritizing map control on outside, they were kind of, and shifting the defense, a lot of the time they were just prioritizing, like, hey, let me just take gun battles. But they're not gun battles that you're advantaged in. When you have Valde out there who's playing with Yugi, and they have that teamwork set up where Valde is kind of spotting, then getting a flash, and then peeking. Yugi's just opping, like very standard CT op angles where the CT's going to have the advantage every single time. I don't think it's a recipe for success on that T side unless you're playing against a team where, quite frankly, you're just a lot more talented and skilled then. And obviously that's not the case when you're playing against a team like Heroic.
Yeah, that was the point that was emphasized quite a bit on the desk too, is just that overall what will bring it down. If this does end up going to a third map now, what would decide at the end of the day is going to be a lot of the individual power that the players have in Heroic, especially after seeing what we saw on that map. Definitely seems to be having the better edge of that right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all expected Heroic to take Nuke, though. So at the end of the day, if you're HellRaisers right now, you just need to shake it off. You're like, hey, man, I mean, that wasn't really our map. We get to play Inferno. I believe it's Inferno next,
yeah,
right?
Inferno next.
Yeah, we get to play Inferno. We know that Heroic really doesn't even practice this map, so we should take this one easily and then go into third map with some momentum. So if you're HellRaisers, you just got to shake it off. You say, you know what, we kind of expected that to happen. No worries. Let's just forget about it and move on.
We just hope they don't get too discouraged by that. And by that we mean this first map's loss, as now we are getting prepared for the second map, folks. So do stick with us as right after this short commercial break, we'll be bringing it back to you for the second map here between Heroic and HellRaisers at the DreamHack Astro Open, live from Austin.